Secondly, negative targeting. If you're selling a book and you never intend to make it free, you could go into the negative targeting on all of your campaigns right off the bat and exact negative target free Kindle books, free anything, so that you can avoid some of that traffic. Those aren't perfect. Like, you'll still have some people who search those terms who find it, but you'll lessen the impact. And because those promos, we don't know. I mean, Gen Z is freaking like crazy with these. I know. And so you don't always know when a big promo is going to happen. So it's really helpful to have that negative targeting in place. This year, it was so rare that we would have spikes. I would call it a Spider-Man problem. I had my superhero books. The first time that Spider-Man Homecoming, when that movie came out, I had this giant spike of like 200 clicks in a week and no one bought. And I'm like, what's happening? It's like, Spider-Man. And so, you occasionally get spikes like that, but now the spikes just come and you don't even expect them. And so it's helpful to have that negative targeting in place.
It was people talking about book talk. You got to be on it. People are talking about books like crazy. You got to be doing it. Okay, fine. I'll do it. Made the decision. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do it. I think I made my count at like the end of January, beginning of February last year, and I didn't post a thing in it for about several weeks. Because I was training the algorithm, right? So I was training the algorithm to know what my account was about. So what that means is I was getting in the search feature. I was swiping away every video that had nothing to do with fantasy books because I wanted the algorithm to know I'm about fantasy books. My account is about fantasy books, and I want my account to be recognized. And then when I do finally post, I want it to go out to the people who are also about fantasy books. So I was training the algorithm for weeks, just searching. Man, it was epic fantasy books, classic style fantasy, clean fantasy, fantasy adventures, fantasy authors, indie fantasy authors. I mean, all the things I could think about, like within the realm of the niche, that's what I was searching. I was training the algorithm to know that that's the kind of account that I've got right here. And then I was also engaging on other creators' content that was in that niche. I was other indie authors that were doing it. They've got 15,000 followers, and I was going, okay, well, let me follow these guys. They've obviously figured something out. Let me figure out what they're doing. Engaging on their posts and training the algorithm to know that I like those posts. I engage with those posts. I engage with those people. Those people engage with me, and I was setting everything up right. I had to build a foundation before I actually posted anything. Most people just say, "Oh yeah, you got to be on Book Talk," and people, post their first video. They're like, "I got a book. I wrote this book. You gotta read this book," and you're like, "No, that wasn't that. No, it's just going out to 200 random people that have literally no interest in fantasy books, and you just set yourself up for failure." So you have to train the algorithm to know what your account is about before you even start posting. And that's what I did. My first post, the next day I had 1,000 followers, which is the first goal that everybody has, right? Everybody has this goal to get 1,000 followers. Why? Because you want to put that link in your bio.
Yeah, so Reels are going strong still. But what I will say is that carousels, an update that they recently made in the last few months, is that if you add music, so now you can add sound from Instagram library to your carousel, they can show up now in the Reels tab. So a lot of people are using Instagram, scrolling through just the Reels tab to be shown Reels, but now your carousel can be shown in that because it has music. So it's kind of like a video, not really. People can swipe through it and hear the music and also read what is on the carousel or look at what's on the carousel. And so that's a pretty big change because before, if you were an account who mostly posted carousels, you weren't getting the benefit of being featured in the Reels tab and people, more non-followers kind of finding you. So that's pretty good for discovery as well.
Could you give an example of like what an author could post in this new type of carousel? Like what kind of carousel would be good for an author?
I remember doing an interview for Draft to Digital and one for my own Stark Reflections podcast years ago with the Panorama Project, which was done out of the University of Portland. And they did a study that showed that people who, actually, ironically, library patrons and pirates actually cause more sales of books. They actually cause more people to buy books. So here's the thing: not everybody can afford to purchase books, and even ebooks can be expensive, particularly if you're an avid reader. But one of the most beautiful things about libraries, and many of us discovered them when we were younger, is that you can have access to so many amazing free resources in your community. You can have access to books and magazines and all kinds of other materials that are just, maybe cost prohibitive to own yourself. And so a lot of library readers, particularly the voracious readers, are going to talk about your books. They're going to recommend them to book clubs. They're going to tell their friends, and those friends may be the ones who buy the books on other platforms. So you do make money when you sell the book to a library, but you also are discoverable for free, and there's less of a risk for somebody to be willing to pick up your book. And that could be the ebook, it could be the audiobook, it could be the print book, whatever it is. Now, in other countries other than the US, and this is also thinking wide, if you're an author who's listening to this from outside the US, if you're in Canada like I am, for example, or one of 36 other countries around the world, there may even be a public lending right program, or actually I get a check from the Canada Council for the Arts via the Public Lending Rights Canada program for my books being in libraries, which actually, that's a pretty sizable 4-figure check that I get every year. So again, being present in a library isn't just about money, it's about discoverability, but it can be about money and discoverability too.
I used to say, hey, maybe you shouldn't run them unless you have a series going, so you have the opportunity for people to read through to book 2 to book 3. But now I've changed my tune, because I think any author should run Amazon ads, because every author in their head has this 10-year plan of what they think needs to happen with their books. And ads can actually tell you if your plan holds water. If you run ads to the first book in a planned 10-book series and it doesn't really go anywhere, the conversion's bad, you can't really get it selling, then that isn't necessarily yep, kill that series, don't ever do it again. But it is a clue. It is a clue. And whenever I bring this stuff up, people are like, sacrilege! What about all those readers who say I'm not going to start until there's at least 3 books out? If you can't sell book 1, because there's enough readers out there that will read a book 1. If you can't sell book 1 with the ad to get 100 clicks, you maybe change a cover, change a thing, you get another 100 clicks, and it still won't sell, don't write 9 more books in that series. And so I think the ads are very, very important for authors to see the data and not just go on, well, this author, they didn't succeed in their first book, but then their second book made $1 million. And it's like, yeah, but that's a unicorn, that's a diamond. We aren't necessarily going to get those results with each one. So I think everyone should run Amazon ads, because it's going to teach them where their books stand right at that moment.
Really strengthen your book and allow it to rise above the people who don't understand this, or people who aren't watching this, okay? Because there's some really crappy things that happen in the system. I think it's lazy of Amazon. I think it's kind of terrible. I also hate the fact that they didn't tell people this, okay? Because out of those 11,000 categories, there are a significant amount of them that are just duplicates of each other, and that are what I call ghost categories. Okay, duplicates mean that if you choose one that is a duplicate, you will be put into others, and also there's all these things that change in it. Okay, duplicates are actually not a bad thing. I actually kind of like to have one of my 3 be a duplicate, because it puts my book in more spots on the store. But I 100% recommend that you check all the other duplicates, so that you make sure that the duplicate is not something that you shouldn't be in. I know I said the word is duplicate like you think it's exactly that, but it might also be a variation of that, but they're both the same, okay? Ghost, though, 100% stay away from them. These are so ridiculous. I have a theory as to why they created them, but I'm kind of mad that they didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, what is a ghost category?
If you choose a ghost category, you cannot rank and get a bestseller rank for it. Also, there is no page on Amazon where people can find it. They show it like it's a page, but it's fake. It's not a category page. What that means is that, again, two big things. If you choose a ghost, no shopper can find that book in that category page because the category page doesn't exist. And on top of that, no matter how good your sales are, you will not rank for it as a bestseller in that ghost category. So if you choose 3 ghost categories because you didn't know they were ghosts and you were just on KDP and you select it,
You're not ranking.
you will not get bestseller.
Oh,
So what sucks about this is that it's literally like a lot of understanding of URL and a little bit of programming to be able to figure out which one is or isn't. We did all that for you, and you can see from the screen capture here, we not only list what is a duplicate, we also list if it's a ghost. So notice that bottom category there, books, science fiction, fantasy, general, that is a ghost. If you selected that in KDP, guess what? You cannot hit bestseller for that category. And on top of that too, even though you can click that link to general, okay, notice that orange on the bottom, that will take you to the fake page that Amazon makes. But that is not a page that a shopper can discover.
There's going to be some trial and error. You're going to find that some reader magnets draw crickets. And other ones will bring in tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. So I would say experiment. And with that being said, put your call to action in the back matter. And I would also recommend putting a short call to action in your front matter, the front of your book, because that is getting that opportunity twice. First of all, the one up front, people are going to see their see inside when they're exploring your book on a retailer's platform. And if they don't even buy, guess what? There's going to be a clickable link in that see inside feature over on places like Amazon or places that serve that sample. And then they can be able to subscribe to your email newsletter without ever even having to buy a book. So now we give them the reader magnet. Now they have undeniable proof and a compelling reason to go and buy that book and get it to where they're becoming fans of you. They're consuming your content.
Pinterest actually deems themselves to be kind of a 3-sided situation. So like a place for community, which is not really how most people use it, a social media platform, and a search engine. I use it for 1 out of 3 of those methods for all of my clients and students. And that's primarily how I've used it for the last 8 years for all of our clients and students. I see it more as a search engine. 96% of all searches that take place on the platform are completely unbranded. So people are looking for things like beach reads or, soft romance books or whatever. And it just serves them with all of these different images. Pins are what they're called. And they could be image pins or video pins. And it's all categorized by keywords. So the keywords that you use on your pin, for your pin title, in your pin description, are all categorized and indexed the same way that Google indexes your content for their search engine. The best way I can describe this is that I think the audience would be, be able to reconcile while listening. I'm a very visual learner. So if you were planning a vacation to another state or another country, you would create a Pinterest board, and then you would start searching for things like what to do in New York City in September. And then all these images and these pieces of content are going to come up, and you're going to start filtering through those and saving them to a board for travel to New York City. And then you're going to go and search for where to eat in New York City, activities with kids in New York City, like depending on what your specific needs are for your trip, you're going to be searching for those terms and saving those things to your board, planning for that future purchase, whether it's online or in person. When I went to New York City with my family in 2019, this is what I did. I planned the entire 4 days that we were in New York City, from the train trip to going to on top of the Empire State Building, all from Pinterest. And then because a lot of the travel companies and things like that are also on the platform, you're able to actually book a lot of that stuff directly from the platform now. So you go from the platform to checkout. So for authors, how people are doing this is they're going on the platform and they're looking for things like what to read after I finish, fill in the blank. Best beach reads for vacation. And they're searching for those kinds of things, but they may even be planning like a reading nook in their house. So, you know, what furniture to put in my reading nook, like how to decorate a reading nook.
With these 7, are you breaking them into broad and long tail? How many should be broad? Some people say 3 broad, some people say 4 broad. What's your recommendation on that?
Well, what I say is I don't like the broad. What I like to do, and by the way, we did a full-on experiment about this, so this isn't so much a regular preferential. We actually created this crawler system. It's the whole experiment is explained in an article, and I think it's called the 7 Kindle keywords. If you just type that into Google, that should show up. But what we found, the best thing you can do is out of the 7, 3 out of 4, or 3 to 4 of those boxes, I would use for exact phrases that you love. Don't put anything else in there, just the exact phrase. So let's just say, for example, and this isn't a decent example, but let's just say fantasy adventure books for adults was a great phrase. Perfect, for exactly what you do. I don't think that's more descriptive enough or niche down enough per se, because I just don't like that fantasy adventure. If it was like sorcery books for adults, now that's a lot more, I would use that phrase and I'd put it in its own box, nothing else, move on to the next box. I would do that for 3 or 4 of the 7 boxes. For the leftovers, I would then take all the different terms, whether they are broad or not, and I would put as many of them into the remainder. So let's say it was, we said sorcery adventure books for adults. I might do like necromancer, war mage, magician, like different words. Again, that kind of, it shows that my main character is a spellbounder. I would go to the once, and by the way, you can fit 50 characters inside of each box. I would not, and by the way, do not put commas, do not put quotations. Amazon even warns you not to do that because it throws off their Boolean criteria, which is kind of a math term about like, if you put quotations, they can't add pluralization, they can't add it with other words. You almost like limit yourself. So just don't put any punctuation in there, okay? I just add the words, as many as I can, okay? I go to the next line, and I keep doing that to all of these maybe more broad descriptive or other phrases that didn't make it into my top 4. When you do that, we saw that you will not only rank better for your phrases that you really want, but that you will strengthen sort of the description to the algorithm that tells Amazon, oh man, this really is a book about a magic spellcaster, that is an adult book, that is in all these other things that helps them to better understand, okay, yeah, this really is that kind of book. We should show that for it. We have found that combination of those 2 parts is the best one to punch when approaching your 7 Kindle keywords.